Hey, it's your boy, Lieutenant Dan from Unintentional Grounding Live. How's it going, everybody? I hope everybody is having a wonderful day here on the channel. Goodness grief, man. Here we are, man. Here we are. Here we are. Oh, man, I'm so excited to be here with y'all. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know. So excited to be here with you guys. So excited to actually be back live again. This is going to be a short stream. It's going to be a short stream because I'm trying to get myself back into the groove of things. You know, life came at me, hit me straight in the face with a shovel and said, guess what? You want to be a streamer? You got to make some money. Well, guess what? Streaming right now, because of how sports are and how the world is kind of working, you know, it's tough. It's tough. It's not easy. It is, and it's not easy right now. So thank you so much for all of y'all coming through. If you haven't already said hi in the chat, I would highly recommend it so I can say hi back. Dalray Bellamy, good to see you, my man. Z is in the building. Good to see you, buddy. We back. Rise up. Stay grounded. Hope you're doing well. What up? Dan the Man, says Chris Edwards. Little JG. What's going on? Noti gang. Noti gang. Gang, gang, boys. Say less, dude. Say less. Noti gang. Noti gang. How about it, huh? Been a hot minute. Been a hot minute since we've had time to come through and really talk to you guys. So thank you for being here. Like, you don't even get it. Like, thank you for being here. But in that same vein, though, we need to have a real discussion today. Not tomorrow, not the next day, not 3 days from now, not 10 years from now. No, we need to have a discussion today. And today's discussion revolves around the idea that the Atlanta Falcons, we already know who they are. We already know who they are. We already know how predictable they are. We already know exactly where they're going to be going. So let's stop this. Let's stop this. Let's stop this nonsense. We all know how this is going to work. Come on, guys. Don't tell me you don't think you know how this is going to work out. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in the way that we always talk about it. Let's talk about it in a reasonable manner. I'm going to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons 2020 season and giving you my take on what's going to happen. You could spread this to whatever Falcons content creator you would like. But as one of the people that believes that he is an OG of the Falcons talk here on YouTube, I am going to say a few things. Number one, don't you dare tell me that a difference is going to be made with Todd Gurley in that backfield with this particular offensive line being, pieces. It's not a group yet. It's pieces. And Dirk Cutter is running this thing. Come on now. Don't lie to yourselves. You know the struggles are going to happen with this team, and you know if he couldn't get Devontae Freeman running, if he couldn't get Brian Hill running, if he couldn't get Quadri Allison running, then giving him a quote-unquote all-pro running back isn't necessarily going to make the difference. But you get me? You feel what I'm saying? You feel me? You get what's going on here? I'm telling you right now. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. Okay? But let's actually get some real talk here. Todd Gurley is a fantastic running back, and I would be lying straight from my teeth if I didn't say that Todd Gurley was going to make a difference for this Falcons team. I would be lying to y'all if I didn't say the Falcons were going to have a difference with Todd Gurley in the backfield. But Todd Gurley isn't going to make or break the offense. Let's be realistic with each other. Let's actually talk about it here. This team needs more than just a dynamic run. It needs dynamic blocking. It needs an offensive coordinator that's willing to take risks as well as go out there and play very malign, boring running style. That's just the straight facts of it. That's not a shoot, by the way. That's just the straight facts of the matter. I like how the prediction notice on here for the Matthew continues to go 12-4. 12-4 prediction. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know what's going on there. But I'll say this. If it was me, and this is just me, if it was me, I would limit the touches that Todd Gurley is having to getting and use him exclusively in the passing game. That way it works with what Dirk Cutter is doing. Dirk Cutter is going to continue to do what Dirk Cutter does. Let's not pretend that suddenly we're going to start running the ball. Let's not pretend that suddenly Dirk Cutter is going to have a change of heart overnight and he's going to start running this ball and he's going to start doing smash mouth football. That's obviously, a farce. They said that to us last year. Don't fall for that same benchmark. Don't fall for that same narrative. Oh, guys, we're gonna beef up this offensive line and we're gonna start running the ball. Yo, that was a lie, man. That was a fib. Michael, what's going on, my man? Rise up, stay grounded. The Matthew, good to see you, buddy. But don't fall for those same traps, those same tropes, those same expectations that the Falcons now have. Oh, we got Todd Gurley now. That means we're going to run the ball. It doesn't mean jack. It doesn't mean jack until we get on the field and we start seeing Dirk Cutter utilize his offense. And we know that Dirk Cutter's offense is a pass-heavy offense, which means that either Todd Gurley is going to be catching a lot of balls or suddenly he woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, deep sweat, and he comes out and goes, oh, we're going to run the ball now. We're going to do the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb running the ball. And then we're going to slant pass to Calvin Ridley all the time. He didn't wake up doing that. He didn't wake up thinking that. He didn't wake up sniffing that idea. He woke up and said to himself the moment that Todd Gurley got into Atlanta, how can I utilize him in the passing game? How can I utilize him in the short passing game and make an explosive attempt? How can I get him to break 15 and 20 yards? That is Dirk Cutter. He woke up thinking about that. He woke up thinking about that. We all know it's true. We all know it's true. Let's stop lying to ourselves. We all know the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that Dirk Cutter, as great of a passing coordinator that he is, does not know how to implement the running game. And that he does not have fresh ideas, and unless he suddenly changes his ways, we're not going to see Dirk Cutter start running the ball like you guys see at UGA and the SEC. We're not going to see him start running the ball like we did with Jamal Anderson. We're not going to see them run the ball like some of those heavy Saquon Barkley New York Giants style running attacks. That's not going to happen. Jay Holland, good to see you, my man. Rise up, stay grounded. I hope you're doing well. Make sure you guys share this out on Twitter. Take the link to this video, share it out to your Facebook Falcons groups. Get those peeps to come in here. Chill out with us. I've said it once. I'll say it again. To me, it's just too easy. It's just too easy. You know Dirk Cutter, you know what he's going to do, you know how he's going to operate, and it ain't going to change overnight, and you've been lied to 3, 4, 5, 6 times. You've been lied to during the Sarkisian era that they were going to run the ball heavier. You were lied to in the Shanahan era that they were going to get more physical at the point of attack. And we struggled in the red zone for a whole year until they actually compromised. And this is where we are leaning into this whole, either they need to compromise as a team, and the players and the coaching staff need to understand where they're going so far, or we're going to see the same repeat of last year where we struggled to run the ball because we didn't have any creativity. Juke points out, good to see my man Rise Up, Stay Grounded, Archangel, Christopher Perkins, Jarvis Baldwin, Brian Smith. All the boys are starting to roll up. Yo, what's up? How's it going? Said said that the run game would be more efficient, so that leads us to be a lot more big runs. I don't believe that. Proof has to be in the pudding. Don't say something to me like you did in the Sarkisian era and said, we're going to run the ball more, and then begin to pass and screen pass most games, which scares me. This is actually the scare right here. Y'all, listen to this, because this is the scare. This is the part that I start getting. This football team is a 7-9 football team disguised as a 12-4 football team. Let's think about that for a second. What does it mean? This is a football team that has the firepower, that has the camaraderie, that has the current talent level that could be 12-4. But this team, currently, the way that it stands, the way that it's doing things, guess what? It's a 7-9 team. Because the creativity on offense up to this point, and just because you added Todd Gurley doesn't make a difference, but the creativity up to this point has been, we throw the ball, we screen the ball, and we check the ball down to Devontae Freeman, and we hope to God that all of that works without setting up bigger, more spectacular runs. And so, yes, there's a lot of factors like James Carpenter. This is a good point out by Christopher Perkins. James Carpenter and Jamon Brown, and they just weren't really cutting it. And then, some guys got injured and some things just went awry. That's all fine and dandy until you actually start getting to the actual meat and potatoes. The meat and potatoes is Dirk Cutter is not very creative. Dirk Cutter doesn't have very many creative bubbles in his system. They ran the same system in Tampa, and even though Jameis Winston was under the helm, or at that point, like, what was it, Fitzpatrick or whoever was back there helping them out, Glennon, I don't know who it was. But they were still successful even with bad quarterback play. Yes, Matt Ryan could elevate that passing attack, but until you become more creative in the run game and you start to balance these things out, it ain't gonna work. This is a 7-9 football team. Let's actually become positive here, because I've been very negative. Let me be the one person to be incredibly positive and slap down the negativity right here. We can become a more creative football team. We can become a better football team. And in fact, I actually have us going 10-6 this season. I have us going 10-6, reaching the playoffs on a wild card berth. I have us going to the playoffs this year. This is a team that, if the camaraderie gets together, if the team identity is there, and that they keep that identity and they keep that fluidity throughout the rest of the season, they're going to win games. They're going to win a lot of games. But the problem currently right now is that I see it all over media. Todd Gurley is going to be the difference maker. Todd Gurley is not a difference maker if you don't have a line in front of him. He isn't going to make that build up speed. He isn't going to get anywhere at all out of the backfield if this offensive line can't block. And this offensive line is a pass protection offensive line. Yes, Alex Mack is there. Yes, Chris Lindstrom is there. Yes, Caleb McGarry showed us that he can run block better. But you've got two problems right now. Jake Matthews, yes, he can run block, but has seemed to kind of fall off a little bit of a proverbial cliff. Maybe that was just a stumble and he can walk himself back up that cliff. But then your left guard situation is pretty much null and void right now. Yes, we got Matt Hennessy. I get it. I understand. I understand. I get it. We're all excited. But until then, James Carpenter, Jamon Brown, and a bunch of other journeymen are sitting there at left guard. This is not a complete offensive line yet. This is not something that you can hang your hat on. And I'm not going to sit out here and pretend that we're, it's going to be okay. Keep the faith. No, let's deal with facts. The fact right now is that Dirk Cutter, as a very, I would just say he's just not very special offensive coordinator, a guy that definitely has a great passing attack and can score points off of it, but just has no running game whatsoever, is going to limit the Falcons. And yes, putting an all-star in a place is nice in a spot where you need difference makers. It's great to have Todd Gurley, but Todd Gurley doesn't push the needle if your offensive line isn't equipped for that. And our offensive line currently right now is a jumbled mess of individuals, not a team right now. We've got to hope that over these next couple of months, with all the COVID stuff going on, with all the restrictions to practice, with all the things that we have to do to make the actual game plan better, and hope that they get the consistency down for every single one of these plays, that these guys become a unit, not a set of individuals trying to work together. You get me? You feel me? And that brings me to this point. The Falcons will never make 10-6 if Dirk Cutter continues to pass the ball 40 plus times a game or 30 plus times a game. It just isn't going to work. You need to limit Matt Ryan to throwing this ball 25 to 30 times a game at maximum, and you need to run that rock. You need to find a way to get the passing game out of the running backs and to run them well. And that means not overdoing things with Todd Gurley, because we know of his injury. We understand what type of player he is, what type of energy he currently has, and it's not good enough right now. It's not. Yes, I believe in Todd Gurley as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to shit on Todd Gurley, but I'm saying that putting a difference maker in there without knowing if your offensive line can even block for that is setting yourself up for expectations that give you a letdown, right? You become let down, right? Rise up, Falcons. Good to see my man. Rise up, stay grounded. I hope you're doing well. Don't let yourself be let down by this hype up of we're gonna have bigger chances to run the ball. Talk to me when we were doing things with Steve Sarkisian over 2 years where they said they were going to get beefier and they're going to run the ball, and they didn't. Okay? And Brian Smith, great point, but I'm also one of those types of guys. You don't need to run the ball 30 times a game. Okay? You don't have to run the ball 30 times a game with one running back. And that's the key right there. That's it. I don't disagree with running the ball 30 times, but you need to spread it out. If Todd Gurley is going to have 15 running touches and 5 to 10 pass catching touches, then you need to set up the next running back, Brian Hill, Quadri Allison, Ito Smith. One of those guys now has to take the next set of touches. If you're going to run the ball 30 times a game, then you need to utilize a running back by committee approach and say that, yes, we're going to have 15 touches for Todd Gurley running the ball, but then we need the other 15 touches to be spread over the other 3 running backs or 2 running backs and give them opportunities to succeed and show that they can take up the helm if Todd Gurley were to go down. And that is an issue with Dirk Cutter. He doesn't trust other running backs. And the reason why we got Todd Gurley so that he can trust his running game and go, I've got an all-pro back there. It doesn't take an all-pro to get your running game to go. Come on, guys. Look at not to point fingers, but go look at Breda over there in San Francisco running the ball with Kyle Shanahan. That man has got like 6 running backs on the squad and uses every single one of them, and his running game is always good. So I'm sitting here not ranting at you guys and complaining, get them their stuff. I'm telling you, don't be disappointed by the outcome when Dirk Cutter's running game doesn't work and he goes and starts passing the ball 40, 50 times a game because he can't get things going because Dirk Cutter's not creative as an offensive coordinator. Is what it is. Yes, he'd have more confidence in his running game if it worked on the 4, 5, 6, 10 plays that he runs the ball, if our blocking was there. But you can't go away from the running game just because a couple of runs didn't work. You have to become innovative. You have to become creative. You have to become reactive. You have to become reactive to the situation. And proactive in the idea that when you go into the game, you know some runs are going to fail. It just is. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting here not shitting on the Falcons' potential. Oh, they're gonna go to the playoffs, or they'll have success. I'm not here to downplay those opportunities for Atlanta. I'm saying that here's the real deal. Dirk Cutter, we know, is a one-sided. If things don't work, he goes back to the well of things that he knows that he's good at, and he's got an all-pro running back there, so that his confidence in the running game goes up, so he will run the ball more. And that's a recipe for disaster. And I'm trying to tell you guys that, look, they say they're going to run the ball more, but watch Todd Gurley catch the ball more than he actually runs the ball. Think about that for a second. Dirk Cutter is a pass-catching offensive coordinator, and he just got a pass-catching running back that can break it if he gets the right pass. Yes, Todd Gurley can run the ball, but Todd Gurley seems to be slowing down because of his injury, and that is a fact. That ain't smart guy, smart football player, smart individual, great on the field, great leadership, knows what he's doing, always in the film room, but his body is slowing down. He's 25 years old, and he is slowing down, and it's because of his knees, and we know it. So let's not pretend. Let's not pretend that that's not a thing. Dirk Cutter's sitting here going, I got an all-pro running back, and if he can help me run, then maybe I'll sprinkle some to the other running backs because things are working. But if the moment that it doesn't work, Todd Gurley becomes a pass blocker and a pass catcher out of the backfield. You know it, I know it, we all know it. We know it's going to happen Sunday 1 p.m. Sunday 1 p.m., start of the regular season, we're going to see Dirk Cutter go into the running game. It's going to get stopped a couple of times, and then he's going to abandon the run, and he's going to put Todd Gurley out there, and Todd Gurley's going to pass block and pass catch. And we know it. We know it's going to happen. That's the reality of the situation. Nobody wants to swallow that hard pill. Hard pill number one, guys. Guess what? Early morning, take your pills. Todd Gurley will become a pass-catching, pass-blocking running back by the end of the season and won't be running the ball nearly enough because Dirk Cutter will have not run the ball well because of his offensive line and trying to get a running back, one single running back, not this whole group, one single running back going, and unfortunately it's just not working out. And so he'll abandon it and start passing the ball more again. And we know it. We know it. So let's swallow that pill and go, we're not going to get upset. I mean, we will get upset, but we will not get overly dramatic or upset over the problem area that is going to happen. It is going to happen. It's a volcano that's ready to erupt. We already see the smoke. We see the smoke at the top of the volcano. We see the smoke at the top of the volcano. All the volcano has to do is erupt. When is it going to erupt? I don't know. But the moment that Todd Gurley is not making 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry, 7 yards a carry, the moment that he's like 3 yards a carry, and the other running backs are also, a little shaky, that's the moment that Dirk Cutter goes, okay, we're going to pass the ball. We're going to pass the ball. And I don't think that Dirk Cutter is a bad OC. Blizz, good to see you, my man. Rise up, stay grounded. I hope you're doing well. Jarvis Baldwin, good to see you. Rise up, stay grounded. I hope you're doing well. If you haven't already said hi in the chat, please do. I will say hi back. But think about that for a second, man. Think about what's going on. We've seen this happen in seasons before, and we know it's going to happen in this season. It ain't a thing. We know. We know it's going to happen. So let's not pretend. I saw an article yesterday that said, hey, are we sleeping on the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC South? Are we sleeping on the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC South? Are we out here not giving the Falcons a fair shake? That they might actually be a dark horse in their own division. And I had to do a double take. I swear I had to do a double take. I had to go 1, 2, 3. What? Excuse me, princess? You're what now? Calling the Falcons a dark horse. So, all because Tom Brady decided he was going to join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, suddenly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on a Super Bowl run. Before we've played any games, before any clock has hit, 14:59, before we have even kicked the ball off, before we've set up any stadiums, before the cashiers got all their cash, their $250 in their cash to set up the ice cream shop at Mercedes-Benz, before one bartender has even put on their gloves and their mask for coronavirus, before one gate has been open at the Benz, before we've even discussed whether or not fans are going to be in the stadiums. Apparently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys, I have this crazy thing. I want to let you guys know about this new news. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are already going to the Super Bowl because Tom Brady's the quarterback. Just wanted to point that out. Just wanted to point that out before we've even played any games. Fat ladies have sung. Bra straps have been tightened. Panties have been pulled up. Before anybody has rolled up to the stadium, before anybody's bought any tickets, before you even got on the practice field, apparently, per the football analysts, the great big thinkers, the great minds of our generation, have already declared the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl contenders and that they're already a lock for the playoffs. Since when? Since when? And I said this a couple years ago. I said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are building up to something great. And they built their defense, and they built their defense, and they built their defense, and they built their defense. And here we are. Their defense is decent, if not good. And their offense is dependent on the quarterback and on the fact that, yes, they have playmakers, but a lot of their guys on the offensive line anyway, are beatable. They don't have much of a run game, and they have a hell of a pass game. And Tom Brady's arm isn't getting any bigger. Tom Brady's arm in Tampa isn't getting any bigger. He ain't 19 years old, kids. Hate to break it to everybody, but he ain't 19 freaking years old. He's 40-something. Trying to extend his career so that he can have the best stats and pad those stats as much as he possibly can so that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Is that where we're at now? That's where we're at. Wow, crazy. Pretty crazy, man. Didn't know that was the thing. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, so hold on one second. So Brady's an automatic lock to the playoffs. What does that make the New Orleans Saints? Hold up one second. Hold my beer. Hold up one second. Hold my beer for a second. You're telling me my most heated rival in my own division is apparently just falling off the proverbial cliff with, by the way, an all-pro quarterback, Hall of Famer in Drew Brees, who I understand is falling off the cliff. We can see it. But that team ain't a slouch. And suddenly you're saying that Tom Brady and the New England Patriots are a lock to potentially win this division and go to the Super Bowl and win the playoffs and be a leader in the clubhouse. And you've forgotten about New Orleans? Hey, I'm a Falcons fan, and I'm not going to sit here and praise the New Orleans Saints, but I'm going to tell you something. You're putting a lot of disrespect on a team whose offense, their head coach, is an offensive-minded guy and has torched defenses. Torched defenses. Torched them. He's torched the best defenses. He's torched the worst defenses. And as long as him and Drew Brees are together, Sean Payton and Drew Brees, they can still make a lot of magic happen. A lot. Okay? And then you have the audacity before we've even played a damn game to say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a playoff team when they haven't even played the Carolina Panthers. Yes, I understand they're going through a rebuild right now, but the Panthers ain't a slouch team. And the Atlanta Falcons, my own team. You're telling me that Atlanta is just going to be a pushover, like you're just going to walk past them, and the rest of the NFC, apparently you're just going to walk past it. What? That is so ignorant. It's so ignorant. It's such levels of ignorance that I can't even fathom it. And this leads me back into Falcons discussion. Hello? Why isn't anybody talking about Atlanta? What, because our defense is young? Okay, I admit it. AJ Terrell and Isaiah Oliver is a wet dream when you're rebuilding a team. But this team is not on a rebuild. This team is on a retooling, looking to try to go to a playoff, to save their coach's job, and potentially go to a Super Bowl, to finally get that elusive ring that they haven't been able to get. And you're telling me, hold on one second, you're telling me that this team is not hungry and just going to be, they're just going to lay on the ground and let Tampa walk all over them, let New Orleans walk over them? No, what? What are you talking about, man? And skills. Brazilian X Skills. Good to see you, my man. Rise up, stay ground. I hope you're doing well. Brazilian X Skills says a really good point. Our defense is actually not that young. Defense is actually kind of middling, trending towards being a little bit older. But we have the pieces. We do. We have the pieces. If they gel, this could be an interesting defense. I like the AJ Terrell pick. And I like that we have a guy capable running the defense that knows about corners and safeties and wants to train those guys and put them in the best position to succeed. With Raheem Morris back there, I don't have a doubt in my mind that this defense will take a step forward. Step up, I don't know about that. I don't know about going up the ladder, but I do know going down the road to success. And if I'm going to use that particular analogy, I think that Raheem Morris can take them to a successful point. Is that winning games? Is that creating turnovers? I don't know. Jack Savage, good to see my man rise up, stay ground. I hope you're doing well. Again, I don't know if this is the path to success, but I do know that it's a path forward in the right direction. And I know that we're going to get to the right place. We're going to get to the right place. We have a few young pieces on this roster, and we have some wily vets that all they need is just a break, a turning point. And this defense gets kind of scary. It really does. If the pieces are clicking, this defense gets kind of scary. If AJ Terrell can go out there and play decent corner, and Isaiah Oliver can take a step forward, then I think we have two bright young corners that can be on this team for years to come and can lock some things down. And I think also on top of that, and I know a lot of people are going to kind of be like shrug, but I've been down. I have been the biggest Debbie Downer. I've been the biggest Debbie Downer of Keanu Neal. And I think that maybe that's the piece right there that we need to see. If he stays healthy and he comes out and he balls, then maybe that's the piece that for this one single solitary year that we can make a move. We can make a push forward into the playoffs. I really do. I believe it can happen. We've got some young pieces on this team, and we've got some wily vets that can make a difference if all things gel. And you know that it's going to take a couple games to do it, especially if there isn't any crowds. But I think we're in a better position than we were a couple of years ago when we had all those massive injuries back in 2018, looking at the team and going, oh, man. What coulda, shoulda been, And now here we are sitting going into 2020 going, let's not lie to ourselves. This offense will implode on itself if a few blocks don't happen. We've seen it with Dirk Cutter before. If a few things don't happen in his own way of doing things as the offensive coordinator, then he reverts back to pass happy Dirk Cutter. And Lord God Almighty, please, I hope to God and Skills, if you're out there, please toast me one today. I hope and pray to God that we don't become a mega screen team just because we got Todd Gurley. God, please no. Dirk Cutter, please don't revert back to 2012 and start screening to your running backs every goddamn play just because you got Todd Gurley now and you're like, oh, I got an all-pro. Now I can start screening to him. Man, if you weren't screening to your running backs just because you didn't have an all-pro, then you're already on a path to failure. It's like, and you see it with Dirk. The moment that somebody drops the ball, or the moment that somebody doesn't do something, he loses complete faith in that player, doesn't even want to go back to that guy again, and he starts going in a completely different direction back to where he knows what's going to work in his own way. That kills me. But that's not negative. That's the truth. That's the facts of the matter. Dirk Cutter isn't an innovator. He's not an innovator. He is a results-based progressionist. He works down the progression and opens up his playbook the more that his players show that they're capable of executing the plays that he's asking to do. And you know what's really crazy? You know what's crazy? Is that when you have that mindset, when everything has to be perfect, it's the law of averages that everything will go absolutely wrong. And you will turn around and you'll go, none of the things that I wanted to happen happened. So now I have to double back and do something that I know that I'm capable of producing, even though it limits my offense. And that kills me every time. What's going on, Q? That guy. Rise up, stay grounded. Hope you're doing well. Anthony Wright, what's popping, my dude? We'll be less on Dirk this season after the first year under Dirk. Matt always has more control to audible. I think that's true. And if they can, and this is actually the shining hope. This actually is the shining hope that I was about to bring right around the corner. Instead of continuing to harp on it, I want to bring this shining hope around the corner for y'all because Skills is pointing it out, and I was leading up to it, so let's get to it. I think it comes down to three guys: how smart they are, how unique they are, how dedicated to their craft they are, and how hard they're working and how they're communicating this offseason. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Todd Gurley, who have been communicating this offseason back and forth, talking, working on their craft, looking over the playbook, getting an opportunity to really talk and investigate what they're going to be doing for the offseason. Hayden Hurst getting an opportunity to do, but the three guys, Julio, Todd Gurley, Matt Ryan, this offense will run through those three guys. It will run through these three guys from their intellect, not what they do on the field. It will be their intellect that will win the game. Matt Ryan's experience, Todd Gurley's never give up attitude when it comes to the film room and how hard he studies and practices the game, and Julio's dedication to his craft and his ability to open up other people. That's where this entire offense will lean on. It will lean on the success and the knowledge of its veterans under Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Todd Gurley. And I think that's where we stand. That's where we are right now. You want this team to succeed, you have to lean on the mental capabilities of those three guys, allowing their success to open up success for other players. That's where it sits. If any one of those three guys begins to falter or fall off or doesn't seem to be getting it, that's when this offense will really stutter and fall off, because then Dirk Cutter's going to take the reins and he's going to try to do his thing. And blah, 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 blah. But regardless of the situation at hand, this is my prediction for the 2020 NFL season for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons will go 10-6. They will beat the Panthers twice. They will go 1-1 against both New Orleans and Tampa. I believe we're going to win some surprise games that you guys didn't think we were going to win, and we are going to get blown out by a team that we thought that, oh, it's going to be okay. And then it wasn't. I think we're going to be sitting on the precipice of an offensive unit that gets lucky, not just how dominant it can be, but how lucky it can be at about, the ball bouncing the right way. We talk about it all the time. The ball bouncing the right way and playing better than the referees officiate. I think that we will find that luck this year and that we will produce on that luck. And on top of those things, I think our defense at this point in stage in the game, you will see that progression. It's going to be rough watching it the first couple of times, but you will see the progression in the players, them getting better over the entire season if we have a season. And that to me is the success you're looking for. Is it wishing on a prayer? No, because all these guys have already said that this is what they're working on. This is how they're going to do it. But what it really is a belief that these guys know what they're doing and that they're going to take the reins. And if Matt Ryan and Todd Gurley and Julio Jones take the reins away from Cutter, and they go in there and they say, the benchmark is 10-6. We have to do 10-6 or better. Then I bet you that this team will come out, play its first couple of games, not skittish, but looking to pop people in the mouth. And we will lose some games on some risky endeavors, but we will win more than we will lose more. Going out there and going, we're smart, we're capable, we're not going to play down to our opponents, we're not going to play their game, we're going to play our game and go out here and succeed. So with that all being said, it was my intention today to come on here and say, I'm not a big fan of Dirk Cutter, but I believe in this Falcons team. I'm not a big fan of how our offensive line is put together, because I know that the moment that things don't work out, the moment that things seem like they're not going the way that Dirk Cutter wants it to go, he's going to revert back to his old passing ways. He's going to revert back to things that he thinks works. And on that same turn, the defense is living in that same reality. It's all on whether or not the players can execute, and guys like Raheem Morris and Dan Quinn can organically build it, because the moment that it doesn't, they revert back to their old ways, and Dan Quinn will go back to cover 3 and try to utilize these same looks that we've been doing because he doesn't believe in it. And this is where we sit right now. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just whether or not we want to ride a tricycle to it, or we want to get on a Kawasaki and go 200 miles per hour. That's up to the team leaders. The team leaders have to prove it on the field and make the coaches relax, because the coaches are too uptight. Dan Quinn's too uptight. He will turn on Raheem Morris at any moment and reinstate his defense again. Dirk Cutter is too uptight. The moment that that running game does not work, he will abandon it and he will go on to something else and turn Todd Gurley into a pass-catching, pass-blocking player only. You know it. You saw it with Devontae Freeman. And some of that has to do with Matt Ryan not checking down, not finding his targets, not playing at a high level. And this year, under a second year under Dirk Cutter, he has to come out there and he has to perform. And I was one of those guys, and Brazilian X Skills can slap me on the back here for being that guy, just staying on that road, that I didn't believe that Matt Ryan had the faults last year. And I've come full circle and have said Matt Ryan did have faults last year, but they were faults that are correctable and things that can lead to more confidence for Dirk Cutter to open up the playbook. Matt Ryan in a second year, just like Skills said in the chat here, Matt Ryan in a second year will have more leeway, will have more leniency, will have more opportunities to showcase his veteran talents of calling the right plays on the field, calling the checkdowns, calling the audibles. But Dirk Cutter has to release that rope first. He has to release the grip on it. So it starts there and then allows those three individuals, Julio Jones, Todd Gurley, Matt Ryan, to then run this offense and run it the way they want to push it. And then after that, it's all up on this young defense and Raheem Morris to just do their job. 10-6. That's where I have the Falcons going this year. 10-6 in 2020. And they will be 10-6 in 2020. And it will be 10 quality wins, not just 10 wins over some easy opponents. It will be 10 quality wins. And we'll be going into the playoffs this coming year saying there is competition in Tampa, New Orleans. There's competition in Philly. There's competition in the entire NFC North. And the NFC West is going to be heavy competition. And we're going to be the guys that are going to dig ourselves out of the hole and prove that the Atlanta Falcons are for real, do have the talent, do have the opportunity. They do have the excitement. They do have the cohesiveness. They do have the veteran leadership. They do have the opportunity to take the reins and go to the stars and take that Super Bowl win. And I think that we will get to the playoffs this year. This will not be a year where we fall apart and we fizzle out. There's a lot riding on the line, and this offense wants to carry that load again. You can see it. The offense wants to carry that load again. And the defense is going to come out and have to make some special plays, and I'm excited for those things. I'm excited for those things. So with that all being said, ladies and gents, boys and girls, this was your boy Lieutenant Dan from Unintentional Grounding Live. Man, it was so good to come back and see a lot of you guys. Cue that guy, Joseph Sandberg, Brian Smith, Skills in the building, Anthony Wright, Archangel. I want to apologize to you guys. I know this is so silly to apologize about, but life took over. Life unfortunately took over, and I've been working tireless days. From now on, though, I'm going to be putting out a full schedule. And I'm telling you right now, a few things that are happening on in my life that's going to stop me from doing that schedule over the next couple of weeks. And I will get to this as much as I can. But let me be straightforward with you guys. You know I'm always transparent. Dilly dilly to Brian Smith. Dilly dilly. From now on, I will have 2 days off a week, and both of those days I will try to get a show. Okay? But in the meantime, at this very particular point, I'm in the middle of selling my house, moving to a new house. There's going to be moving days. My job is about an hour away right now. We will be changing that as I move closer. So there will be more time for me to be able to do videos and do film review for you guys, because I want to be on the film review. I want to be with you guys doing those things. But let me just say very quickly that life has taken a turn. It's pulled me away. It's pulled me away from y'all. It's pulled me away from talk and smack, you know? And when I start getting my days back, when I'm able to get my setup all put together and my office is all set up again, hey, we will be back on here and we will be jamming. But until then, I want to leave you with this little note. Thank you for coming through. Rise up and stay grounded. Make sure that you hit that like button, that notification bell, and that subscribe button. Make sure you go over to the Twitch channel and you go support us on Twitch. Make sure you go hit us up at UNGR_show on Twitter and on Instagram. Thank you, Q. I really appreciate that. Brian, thank you so much. Joseph, thank you so much. Goodbye. Mwah! And good night. Bang.